everybody, welcome to Versus. The concept for this show is we will have two people on either opposing sides, coming from different backgrounds, whatever it may be. They will be going head to head, answering the same questions in this bowl, giving their opinion, and having a nice, lovely discussion. They may not all be lovely, maybe they'll get heated. We'll find out. My name is Samantha, and I am a very big Broadway fan.
And I am Ryan, and I've been on Broadway twice.
He has. He's great. I told you, big Broadway fan. First question. Why don't you go?
Dum, dum, dum. I'm going
Mr.
first.
Broadway star. I'm such a big fan, by the way.
What is your favorite Disney musical?
Go ahead.
I don't know. Historically speaking, Beauty and the Beast was the first one they ever did. Historically speaking, Lion King is the longest one they've ever done. But I was in Frozen. So, no, I mean, and I've seen Aladdin, it's fantastic. I've worked for a lot of different facets of the Disney machine, and when I worked for Disney on Broadway, one of the company managers said to me, like, think of us more as the Disney arm of Broadway and less as the Broadway arm of Disney. And that's really how they operate. So like, they do really good stuff. I think
What's
I'm gonna have to go with Beauty and the Beast just for like the historical precedent that it set.
Cool. My favorite is Newsies.
Nice.
I think the choreo is just insane. It's such a fun show. Newsies, hands down.
It's a really good one. It's a really good one.
I'm a sucker for tap. I love a good tap break. I want a juicy one. I want to argue with you. Here's a juicy one. By the way, these were all fan-submitted questions. I'm prefacing that because I think this is worded in a very particular way. Any thoughts on Beetlejuice being kicked out for a musical about a con man? I do have thoughts, but I, as a Broadway fan, understand that that's not really the situation. Beetlejuice wasn't kicked out. It was kind of sucky that their run ended abruptly because of the quarantine. And so it feels like they were just like cut off and it's over and they're being kicked out and like, bam, here comes the Music Man. I guess my thoughts are, I wish Beetlejuice got to live out their full run, but also I'm excited about the Music Man.
I'm not excited about the Music Man.
Yeah.
I hate that musical.
Yeah.
I always have, I always will. Hugh Jackman, Sutton Foster, I'm sure they're gonna be amazing. But
I just want Sutton Foster back on Broadway.
yeah, it's not black and white. It's not so easy to delineate. The thing that happened was producers signed a lease with the theater owner. So the theater owner of the Winter Garden, they own the theater, they rent out the space to shows that come in and do it, and when their lease is up, the theater owner can decide if the show is going to leave or if it's not going to leave. Now the reason that it's a little strange is because there's a precedent set that theater owners seldom ever kick a show out if the show has recouped and if the show is making money, and Beetlejuice was. So it was strange for a theater owner to kick out a production that was making money. But technically, once the lease was up, if one party decides to walk away, that's it. So technically nothing bad happened there, but it was completely against precedent. And I certainly, as someone who am a huge fan of Beetlejuice and everything that they did, and a not at all fan of Music Man just in general, am so bummed that Beetlejuice is not going to be on Broadway and Music Man is when all of this is over and Broadway comes back. That is just kind of wild to me. What is the best movie to stage adaptation?
There are quite a few.
Heathers.
Oh, you've been in two.
Oh, I have been in two.
Interesting.
Heathers.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't know if I actually mean that, but that is going to be my
That's your
answer on the record. I can only think of musical to movie adaptations. Like, I'm only thinking
Really?
of like West Side Story and South Pacific and Newsies.
Shrek. Shrek the musical.
Shrek the musical is not the best.
No, it's not. I was just giving you, no. I want to be clear, that is not
That's
my
Sam's answer.
No, that is
Huge
not my answer.
Shrek stan.
Honestly, I think my answer is Legally Blonde. I think that the movie itself had a really good energy that like could very easily be transferred to the stage. And I think Lawrence O'Keefe, his music made it like, mwah.
Well, how about that? We both picked Larry O'Keefe musicals.
I thought it was
Love you,
Lawrence
Larry.
O'Keefe.
Well, when you're friends with him, he's Larry.
Ooh. What is a musical you need to see live before you die? I'm gonna say Wicked. I know there are countless bootlegs. What?
You've seen Wicked live.
Oh, I thought this was like more of a general of like, hey, if you haven't seen this, you need to see it before you die.
What is a
what's a
musical that one must see before
they
one
die?
dies? Okay.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. So my answer for that is going to be Wicked, because I know there are a ton of bootlegs out there, but I think experiencing No Good Deed and Defying Gravity live, hearing those notes live, like oh, the set's amazing. It's such a good feeling. It's one of my favorite shows to see. Getting to see you in it was incredible. It was my first Broadway show, not the time I saw you, but when I was 12. And so to come back and see him in it again was incredible. It's just, it makes me giddy. It's one of my favorite Broadway shows. And I just think everybody needs to see it at least once.
There are a few generation-defining and theater-changing musicals throughout the course of history. You look at a musical like South Pacific at the time, what it did at the time. You look at a musical, you know, Marvin Hamlish, Ed Cleban, a chorus line. You look at what it did at the time. You look at what Wicked did at the time, at the turn of the century. And then, of course, Hamilton, I think, is the most obvious one that people think of now. One of the musicals that changed musical theater forever. If you get a chance to be in the room where it happened, if you get a chance to actually sit in the Gershwin and see Wicked happen, if you get to see some kind of, you know, remake or some adaptation of either a chorus line or South Pacific, you know, like any of these musicals that just changed theater forever, to get a sense of the power of theater, to get a sense of the history of theater, and to get a sense of the importance of theater, I think it's incumbent on, especially a new fan, to go and see one of those.
Okay, I'm interested to see your answer for this. If you could be in any musical, what would it be?
Hasn't been written yet. Original work is the most exciting work to do.
For me, keep in mind this has nothing to do with my actual talent or vocal range, but I think if you could just be in any musical and if you could just be any role, Elphaba. Are you dead?
You would be dead.
I would be
Elphaba is one of the hardest roles.
I know.
Like,
so that's why if I could just be, and either Elphaba or Glinda, I think Glinda would be so much fun.
Listen, I love all of the amazing women that I worked on Wicked with, and I love everyone who's ever played those roles, but Glinda is exponentially easier than Elphaba. Elphaba is one of the hardest roles, not just on stage, which is self-evidently hard, but the backstage traffic. I mean,
really?
Oh my goodness. After she runs off stage after As Long As You're Mine, which by the way is the only time Elphaba just sits and sings ever, she has to sprint around and go under the trap. The Gershwin is a huge theater. It takes up a city block. Go under the trap, get on the elevator, and then come up for Telekanam and Nam and Ashua.
See, that's so interesting because in my fan brain, I was just like, oh, to sing those songs, but to hear about the actual physicality and what's behind putting on that show.
But then also we think to sing those songs. When we think that, it's like to have an audience of 2,000 people clap for me singing that song once.
Yeah.
How about 8 shows a week for a year?
That's very true.
How about doing the role of Elphaba 400 times in a year?
Exhausting.
How about over the Christmas holiday where we don't get a day off for 10 days straight because we're performing for all the people? And granted, I'm not complaining. It's just the reality is theater is really hard, and it's really, really hard if you're Elphaba.
Sure. So anyways, if I could still just be Elphaba, I'd be Elphaba.
All right.
No, but if this question just grants me the stamina
it gives you everything
it gives
you've
me
ever
everything
wanted.
I need to be Elphaba, then Elphaba. Or Christine. Christine's more tame.
Christine. Yeah, Christine, girl, that high note.
What?
That high note in Phantom of the Opera.
At the end of Phantom of the
Opera. Tracked. That's right.
I guess that
they have
makes
all those
sense,
body doubles running over the set. I mean, most of that song is pre-recorded because they have body doubles doing the whole thing and all. The Phantom is one of the easiest roles on Broadway. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't even sing the title song. That's right.
What?
That's right. Lift up the curtain. Lift up the curtain. I don't know if I'm allowed to be saying this. How did you fall in love with theater? Oh, Samantha, were you born and raised in London?
Why?
Theatre.
Oh.
The theater.
I was born in London.
I fell in love with theater because my sister did theater. I don't know how. My dad is an educator, my mom is a retailer, but but my sister just came out of the womb singing and dancing. And so I saw that she was doing theater and I wanted to do it too. And so interestingly enough, I fell in love with theater from the stage, not from the audience.
I fell in love with musical theater because my older sister did stage managing and helped to build sets for our local community theater. And they were doing My Fair Lady, and I was like in 5th grade or so, and she just said, hey, you're gonna come see this show with me. And I was like, great. And I fell in love with it. I did think it was very long, but I still liked it.
My Fair Lady?
Yeah, I was like, when is the, okay. As the show ended, she was like, come on, you're gonna come see and meet the director. I was like, okay, sure. And she introduces me to Miss Milstead, and she was just like, this is Samantha, she's gonna be auditioning for the spring musical. And my sister had not told me about this, so I was like, I'm sorry, what? And at this point, I was only just like singing in my room, and my sister was telling me to shut up, but then all of a sudden she was like, you're gonna be in the spring musical, and I was like, okay, kind of whiplash.
Don't use your talent. Use your talent.
Nice. It was Seussical the musical, and that was my very first musical, and that's how I fell in love with theater.
Aw,
yeah.
Who were you?
Well, I was a Who.
We are who's here.
Never a lead.
I can see. What'd you say?
I'm not bitter about it. I said never a lead.
Oh. Is Wicked overrated? I remember, I'm not gonna say who this was, but one of my first rehearsals of Wicked, I was like trying to like chum with the, you know, senior management and everyone, and I was like, gosh, I mean, I'm just like so excited to be a part of this show, like the music is so good. And he was like, is it? And I was like, I think so. And I understand that when something sticks around for a long time and you've heard it for 15 years straight, it's just kind of like, okay, eye roll, Defying Gravity, especially when we have all of these like preteens squelting their face off
and
trying to sing these songs.
And everyone's audition song is popular.
Yes, but Stephen Schwartz made, I think for the first time successfully, a pop musical. What good is art if it can't at first entertain you? And I think Wicked is one of the most entertaining things ever done.
Yeah. I completely agree. I don't think it's overrated at all. I think it's a musical people may be annoyed by because they hear a lot about it,
right.
and they hear maybe 1 or 2 songs like on repeat a lot, but they haven't experienced the full show itself. I think it's a really good, I was gonna say gateway musical.
Oh,
but I think it's a really good
Wicked, baby.
I think it's a really good gateway musical into musical theater.
I'm obsessed with that term.
Yeah, it's like
Gateway
I think it's one of the more like approachable musicals. Very timely. Thoughts on plays being held on Zoom this year?
I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah?
I mean, it's not going to work as well as theater works.
Of course.
It's not going to give anyone the same satisfaction that they would derive from the actual in-person experience of seeing theater. But what the heck else are we supposed to do?
Exactly.
I mean, the entertainment industry, entertainers, their lives, their lifestyles, completely decimated by this virus. I think participation of any stripe right now is so important, especially for kids, like seeing like high school students who are losing out on this milestone moment of doing their senior show or whatever, to be able to put on some kind of Zoomsicle and just even get the faintest semblance of that. I just think it's wonderful.
I agree. I think it's really awesome for scenarios like that, and also I think it's a great way to still give theater fans things to consume. It gives them something. And a lot of Broadway actors are participating, and obviously it's like, yeah, it's a chance for them to work. It's a chance for them to continue to hone their craft. But yeah, it's great because it gives Broadway fans something to consume as well. A for effort.
A for effort.
A for effort.
A for effort.
It's not gonna give you the exact same feeling, but it's something.
A for effort.
Well, that brings us to the end of our very first episode of Versus.
Good job.
Good job. We are in the same household, so this is okay. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing both of our takes on all of these questions. Please, please, please leave a comment down below for what other topics you guys would like to see discussed on Versus, and maybe we'll do one or two.
Or
4. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your questions. Bye.